Howdy, y'all. My name is Larry Van Meter. I am in the humanities department at Blinn College in Bryan and a proud Navy veteran. I served in the United States Navy as a Slavic linguist from 1992 to 1998. And one of my jobs was to ride on submarine missions. And I was on 3 of those missions, and the first one was in classified, and we went to an undisclosed location to perform our mission, and we got on board, and we found out there's some interesting rules about submarines. And probably the one thing you should know about being on a submarine is probably something you already know, and that is they're cramped. Okay, there is no extra space on a submarine, which, by the way, was one of the things that drives me crazy about Hollywood movies is that if they're setting a submarine, they're just way too roomy. Okay, so. One of the rules about a submarine is you can't have more sailors than beds on a submarine. So, there's exactly as many beds as there are sailors under normal circumstances. But when they put us, Slavic linguists on the boat, there are more sailors than beds. and which means they had to do 2 things. They had to bring in a couple of extra beds, a few extra beds. And another thing they had to do was, and this fact made us very unpopular with the regular submariners, is they would have to share beds with some of their shipmates. And of course, the interlopers, we had to share beds with one another. And so sharing a bed is what is called hot racking. And they brought in 16 extra mattresses that went in the torpedo room. And and so to put them in the torpedo room, they had to put them directly underneath a very large, I guess by submarine standards, torpedo rack that was, so what were the dimensions of that? So it was classified, okay, but it was enough space underneath this rack to put 16 mattresses, and these mattresses were 72 inches long, and I don't know, I guess like 3 feet wide or something like that. It was insane. And this is where we slept. And what you should know is that the sailors, by the way, we called them boat guys and they called us spooks. And so the boat guys called this space underneath the torpedo racks, they called it the love rack. Okay, and so I had to hot rack with a guy whose name was, and I'm not making this up, Mike Howard. That was his name. Mike Howard. That was his name. And so he was the senior linguist on this trip, and I was the junior linguist on this trip, which basically meant that I only got to bed when he told me I could go to bed. But which means, man, that dude could sleep. Okay, anyway. Which meant, and so our work schedule was, what's called 12 on, 12 off. So we worked 12 hours a day. So I worked 12 hours a day, and then the senior linguist, he worked the other 12 hours a day. So I would work from 6 p.m. to 6 a.m., and then he worked from 6 a.m. to 6 p.m. 7 days a week. So there ain't no such thing as a day off on a boat. And and so the reason why it's called hot racking is that when he gets up to go to work and relieve me, I go to the rack, and that rack is still hot. Okay, meaning it still has its body warmth in it. Anyway, like I said, there were 16 racks underneath this torpedo rack, and the clearance between my nose and the bottom of this rack was about 6 inches, and so you had to, you had to kind of jump in feet first into the rack, and then lie on your back, and you couldn't turn over, okay, because there just wasn't enough space for you to turn over on your side, and I'm a side sleeper, okay, so it was extremely uncomfortable having to spend X amount of time. How long was I on those missions? Oh, classified. And so and it's extremely uncomfortable. And of course, I'm sharing that space with 15 other sailors. Okay, and so I was second over from the end of this rack, so I was extremely jealous of the guy to my immediate left, because he actually got an extra, I don't know, 2 microns of space. And one of the things that we used to joke about when we were in the chow hall was how much better American prisoners had it than sailors, because they at least got to go outside. Okay, so and I kind of regret thinking about that was kind of absurd. But you do get a little stir crazy on those boats. Anyway, but I survived, and I mostly look back on my time on the Navy in general, and on submarines in specific, with a certain degree of fondness. Anyway, I want to thank my fellow veterans for their service to the country, and it was my pleasure to serve this great nation, and I wish everyone a happy Veterans Day. Thank you.